Hello and welcome, my friend. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to pause for just a second. Take a quiet breath. Because this is not just another English lesson. This is something different. Today, we are not going to chase perfection. We are not going to memorize rules. We are not going to pressure ourselves. We are going to do something much more important. We are going to reconnect with why you started. Because learning English is not really about language. It is about your future, your opportunities, your voice, and maybe a version of yourself you haven't met yet. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt like giving up, if you've ever thought, maybe this is not for me, then stay with me. This might change the way you see everything. Part 1. The moment everything changes. There is a moment, small, quiet, almost invisible, but it changes everything. It is the moment you stop learning English as a subject and start seeing it as part of your life. Most people never reach this moment because they learn English the wrong way. They treat it like a task, something they have to do. They open a book. They memorize words. They study grammar. But their mind is tired, and their heart is not there. So learning feels heavy, slow, frustrating, and over time, they stop. Not because they are not smart, not because they don't have time, but because they don't feel connected. Now there is another kind of learner. They don't just study English, they experience it. They hear a sentence and feel something. They understand a word and smile. They repeat phrases, not because they must, but because they want to. And that is the difference. Not talent, not intelligence, but emotion. Because when learning becomes emotional, it becomes powerful. Think about this. Why do you remember songs so easily? Why do you remember movie lines? Why do certain words stay in your mind? Because you felt something. Emotion creates memory, and passion creates consistency. So if learning English feels difficult, maybe the problem is not your ability. Maybe the problem is you haven't felt it yet. You've been learning with pressure instead of passion. So let's change that. Don't ask yourself, how can I learn faster? Ask yourself, how can I enjoy this more? Because the moment you enjoy learning, you stop forcing yourself. And the moment you stop forcing, you start progressing. Slowly, naturally, powerfully. And here is something important. You don't need to feel excited every day. You don't need perfect motivation. You just need a reason. That feels real to you. Maybe you want a better job. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to understand the world. Or maybe you just don't want to feel left behind anymore. Whatever your reason is, hold on to it. Because when your reason is strong, you don't quit easily. And when you don't quit, you improve. Not in one day, not in 1 week, but over time. And one day, you will realize something surprising. English is no longer something you study. It becomes something you use, something you understand, something you live with. And that moment, that quiet, simple moment, is where everything begins to change. Part 2. Small steps, real power. Many people believe to improve fast, they need to do more. More time, more effort, more pressure. So they create big plans. I will study 2 hours every day. I will learn 50 new words. I will master grammar this month. It sounds strong. It feels serious. But it doesn't last because the plan is too heavy. And when something feels heavy, your mind starts to resist it. You feel tired before you even begin. And slowly, you stop. Not because you are lazy, but because your system is broken. So let's change the approach. You don't need more intensity. You need more consistency. And consistency is built on small actions, not big ones. Let me give you a simple idea. If you study English for just 15 minutes a day, but you do it every single day, your progress will be real. Because repetition builds familiarity, and familiarity builds confidence. Now compare that to studying 3 hours once a week. It feels productive, but most of it disappears because your brain forgets what it doesn't use. So the secret is not effort. The secret is frequency. Touch the language every day, even a little, especially on days when you don't feel like it, because those days are the most important. They are the days you build discipline, and discipline is stronger than motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. Now here is something practical. On a good day, study longer, listen more, speak more. But on a bad day, don't stop. Just reduce the size. 5 minutes, one short audio, a few sentences. That's enough. Because your goal is not to be perfect. Your goal is to stay connected. Think of it like a chain. Every day you practice, you add one link, and your only job is simple. Don't break the chain, even if the link is small. Because small actions, done daily, create big results. Now imagine this. 5 new words a day, not difficult words, just simple, useful ones. After 1 year, you will know over 1,000 words. That is not small. That is transformation. And it didn't come from pressure. It came from patience, from showing up again and again, quietly, consistently. So stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be consistent. Because in the long run, consistency always wins. Part 3. When passion gets quiet. At the beginning, everything feels exciting. New words, new sounds, new hope. You feel motivated. You tell yourself, this time, I will do it. And for a while, you do. But then, something changes. The excitement becomes weaker. The progress feels slower. You don't see results as fast as before. And one day, you sit down to learn. But you don't feel anything. No energy, no interest, just silence. And in that moment, many people think, I lost my passion. But the truth is, you didn't lose it. It just became quiet. Because passion is not always loud. It doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes, it feels like effort. Sometimes, it feels like discipline. Sometimes, it feels like continuing when you don't feel like continuing. And this is where most people stop. Not at the beginning, but in the middle. when things are no longer new, when learning becomes routine, when progress is slow and invisible. So how do you keep going? You don't wait for passion. You create it again, in small ways. Start by changing what you do. If you feel bored, don't force yourself to continue the same method. Change it. Watch something different. Listen to a new voice. Read something easier or something more interesting. Because boredom is not a sign to stop. It is a signal to adjust. Now here is something important. Make learning personal, not perfect. Choose things you care about. Stories, music, real conversations. Because when you care, you stay. And when you stay, you improve. Slowly, but surely. Another thing you need to remember. Stop comparing yourself. This is where many learners lose confidence. You see someone speaking fluently, and you think, I'm far behind. But you don't see their journey. You don't see their years of practice, their mistakes, their struggles. You only see the result, and you compare it to your current moment. That is not fair. Your path is yours. Your pace is yours. So instead of looking at others, look at your own progress. Maybe you understand more than last month. Maybe you speak a little more. Maybe you are less afraid. That is growth. Quiet growth, but real. And finally, give yourself permission to rest. Not quit. Rest. There's a difference. If you feel tired, take a break. Slow down, but don't disappear, because stopping for too long makes it harder to return. So stay close to the language, even lightly, even softly, because passion is not something you wait for. It is something you return to, again and again, in your own way, in your own time. And every time you come back, you become stronger. Part 4. Let English live with you. There is a simple shift that changes everything. You stop asking, when should I study English? And you start asking, how can English stay with me all day? Because the problem is not time. You already have time. You just don't use it. With English. Think about your day. You wake up, you check your phone, you walk, you eat, you do small things. Again and again. Now imagine, English is part of those moments. Not as a task, but as a background. Something natural, something light. Start with your phone. Change the language. Not everything at once. Just a few things. Settings. Simple apps. Common words. At first, it feels strange, but slowly, it becomes familiar. And that familiarity is powerful. Now let's talk about listening. You don't need extra time. You just need different habits. While walking, play English audio. While cooking, listen to a short story. While resting, let English be around you. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to stay exposed. Because your brain learns, even when you don't notice. The sounds become normal. The rhythm becomes clear. And one day, you realize something surprising. You understand more. Without trying harder. Now speaking. This is where many people stop. They wait. They prepare. They think, I will speak when I'm ready. But ready never comes. So start small. Speak to yourself. Describe what you see, what you do, what you think. Simple sentences, short phrases, no pressure. Because speaking is not performance. It is practice. And practice needs repetition, not perfection. Your voice may feel weak at first. That's okay. Use it anyway, because your voice grows when you use it, not when you wait. Now reading. Keep it simple. Short texts, easy stories, even subtitles. Don't try to understand every word. Focus on the meaning. Stay relaxed. Stay curious. Because learning is not about control. It is about connection. And here is the key idea. You don't need a perfect environment. You create your own environment. With small choices, daily choices, quiet choices, and those choices shape your progress. So don't wait for more time. Don't wait for a better plan. Start where you are. Use what you have. And let English live with you. Little by little. Day by day. Until one day, it no longer feels like a foreign language. It feels like a part of you. Part 5. Speak even if you're not ready. There is one thing that stops more learners than anything else. Not grammar, not vocabulary, but fear. The fear of being wrong. The fear of sounding strange. The fear of being judged. And because of that fear, you stay quiet, you understand, but you don't speak. You know words, but you don't use them. You wait. You tell yourself, I will speak when I'm better. But that moment never comes. Because speaking is not the result of confidence. It is the cause of confidence. You don't become confident first. You become confident after you speak, after you try, after you make mistakes. So let's be clear about something. Mistakes are not the problem. Avoiding them is. Every mistake you make is a step forward. Every wrong sentence is practice. Every moment of hesitation is part of growth. Think about a child learning to speak. They don't wait to be perfect. They try, they fail, they try again. And slowly, they improve. You are doing the same thing, just at a different stage. So don't expect perfection. Expect progress. Now here is something practical. Lower the pressure. You don't need long conversations. You don't need perfect grammar. Start small. One sentence, then another. Speak to yourself if you need to. Say what you are doing. Say what you are thinking. Repeat what you hear. It may feel strange, but it works. Because you are training your brain. You are building a habit. You are telling yourself, this is safe. And when something feels safe, fear becomes smaller. Now if you have a chance to speak with others, take it. Even if your voice shakes, even if your sentences are simple. Because real growth happens outside your comfort zone, not far outside. Just a little. Enough to challenge you, but not enough to break you. And here is something important. Be kind to yourself. You are not behind. You are not too slow. You are learning something new, something that takes time. So don't judge every mistake. Don't compare every sentence. Just keep going. Because one day, you will say something in English, without thinking, without fear, without stopping. And in that moment, you will understand something powerful. Confidence didn't come to you. You built it. Word by word, step by step, by choosing to speak, even when you were not ready. Part 6. You are becoming someone new. At some point, you begin to notice something. Not suddenly, not loudly, but quietly. You are changing. At the beginning, everything felt difficult. You searched for words. You doubted yourself. You felt slow. But now, something is different. You understand more. You respond faster. You feel less afraid. And maybe you didn't even notice when it happened. Because change doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it happens in silence, day by day, moment by moment. And one day, you realize you are not the same person anymore. Learning English did more than teach you a language. It changed the way you think. It made you more patient. Because you learned to wait. It made you stronger. Because you didn't quit. It made you more open. Because you connected with something new. And most importantly, it made you believe. Believe that you can improve. Believe that you can grow. Believe that you are capable of more than you once thought. And here is something important. There is no finish line. No moment where you say, I'm done. Because language is not something you complete. It is something you live with. Something you continue to explore. So don't rush. Don't chase perfection. Stay in the journey. Because the journey is where everything happens. And one day, you will meet someone who feels exactly how you once felt. Confused, unsure, afraid. And they may ask you, how did you learn English? And your answer will not be complicated. You will say, I didn't stop. Not when it was hard, not when it was slow, not when it felt invisible. You just kept going. And that made all the difference. So if today you feel like your progress is small, remember this. You are not just learning English. You are building a new version of yourself. Stronger, calmer, more confident. And that version of you is already on the way. And now, before we finish, just remember this. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fast. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to continue. Because every small effort you make is shaping something bigger. Maybe you can't see it yet. Maybe no one else can see it. But it's there, growing quietly inside you. So tomorrow, start again, not with pressure, but with patience, not with doubt, but with belief. Just one step, that's enough. And if this journey feels right to you, you can come back here, anytime. There will always be another story, another step, waiting for you. So, if you want to keep going, consider subscribing, and we'll walk this path together, one step at a time.